So we're back with another episode. Guess what? We're doing Knives Out, one of the
Yes,
best movies of 2019.
100%.
How it didn't get a nomination for Best Picture, I don't know. People are crazy and didn't watch the movie because it's just awesome. And the cast is awesome. The story's awesome. Everything about it's great. Direction from Ryan Johnson, amazing. The screenwriting, the craftsmanship, the kind of
Just an
twist on the
overall,
genre.
just an overall around just incredible movie, and it's
Yeah.
also one of the great movie going experiences of 2019 for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you'll walk out
Um,
of this laughing, not maybe walking out of not the same reaction walking out of say Parasite or something.
yeah. It's a who done it,
Hmm.
but you know who did it, and then it unravels from there. It's such a different spin on like the Murder on the Orient Express type who
Hmm.
done it that it makes it really interesting. So, with that said, let's get into our casting. And
You
ahead of
made me.
time, I'm gonna have the better casting, but we'll
You're right.
we'll let you go first to make yourself feel better.
Right, of
So
course.
so Marta Cabrera, played by Ana de Armas. Who did you pick to recast her as?
First, I will have to say we may be attempting the impossible since this cast was one of the best like casts I saw in like 2019. Like what a like the amount of just stars they got for each person's role and how perfectly they played them. Like, oh man. Uh, so let's see. From Marta, this one took me a bit because you'll be hearing this a lot, viewers. But each person played their roles so perfectly. Ana de Armas did great as Marta. And it took me a while to try and figure out who would be best as the character. And I kept going in my head like, oh, who's like a really good like Hispanic actress and who's like up and coming because Ana de Armas is also up and coming, and I didn't want to cast like a huge big name to like detract from that. Um, Ultimately, I'm wavering between two. Maybe by the end of this, I'll have settled on one, but I'll tell you who I'm wavering behind. The
Yeah,
first one of them, I actually decided to um, actually change the race because I thought one of the most important things about Marta was the fact that she was this like very I feel like she was one of the most underrated like minority like protagonists I've seen like recently. Like no one talks about how like one of the reoccurring jokes, if you remember, is that nobody seems to remember where she's from. They just keep
right.
plugging in random like Hispanic countries and just like they just assume they're correct. And I thought like just as like a minority like protagonist and for the way they like her arc like of her just being like a good person, like I felt like in a way like you could afford to maybe like change the race like and apply it in a different way. So that informed one choice for her, and but the other one I kept as a Hispanic actress. So for my race change one, I put Constance Wu from Crazy Rich Asians and
Yeah,
Hustlers, a very underrated Asian actress. I think she is like in both Hustlers and Crazy Rich Asians, everyone always talks about like the other actresses in the movie, like Jennifer Lopez or Michelle Yeoh, but she's like really like she can really hold her own. She's a very like compassionate and very like just charming presence. Um, I think she would still like occupy the role very effectively. And then for my Hispanic choice, I chose Diane Guerrero. She currently stars on the DC show Doom Patrol, and she also is for a long time was part of Netflix's Orange Is the New Black. One, I think she's again like Constance Wu. I think she's incredibly underrated as an actress, especially in her role in Doom Patrol. She has to play a character with 64 different personalities, so she's always like changing and doing crazy stuff, jumping from one end of the extreme to the next. And Diane Guerrero is just a very just talented, underrated person, and I think she would also occupy the role of Marta very well. And because the roles I just mentioned from Orange is the New Black and Doom Patrol, they waver between being very like intense, like loud roles and like a very quiet, like intensive one. So she um I think she too would just occupy the role really well. Hopefully, maybe I'll keep thinking about these two. I'll let you know who I've decided by the end, but those are my two for Marta.
yeah. I really Constance Wu is an interesting pick,
Mm,
and you bring up a good point. that her character is based on being an immigrant and not on the actual race of the immigrant,
Mhm.
um, that I hadn't really thought about.
Mhm.
But that's a very good point. Uh, I ended up going with, I know it's the second time I've done this now for the lead actor or actress. I went with an unknown. I
Okay.
swear, I'm not going to keep on doing this. But there's no star who fits this role with the combined age demographic and the
Mhm.
immigrant status, and kind of embodies the character as well, kind of the heart that this character has.
Mhm.
Because Marta Cabrera has so much heart, and Ana de Armas plays her with so much heart. She's such a compassionate person. I just couldn't find someone who quite had all of that. And so I think I'm a big proponent of bringing new talent
Yeah.
in,
Right.
and I didn't want to typecast anyone,
Mhm.
um, and I just couldn't find someone who could quite fit this role. So I thought, give it to an unknown. Um, Ana de Armas, as great as she wasn't quite an unknown. She was somewhat known. But I think give it to a completely new person. Take that chance and have that person uh, carry the film. I think that's where you got to go with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
don't.
I mean, I don't know what else I can say just because, again, unknown. But no, yeah, bringing in new talents always appreciated, and especially with, I can only imagine like bringing in like this person, an unknown, against all the people like that were both you and me were about to say, and even just the original cast in general. That's probably like it's such an exciting opportunity.
Yeah, and this is a cast with so many stars
Mhm.
that you can afford to make Marta Cabrera an unknown, and it's not going to hurt the movie. It's not going to hurt the budget. It actually will help the budget, and you can get someone that is as unknown to you as it actually you kind of find out it is to the rest of the people in the cast.
Right.
And I think that's actually a cool thing too.
Mhm.
As far as what I'm doing, because I think if I'm going to say I'm going to cast an unknown, I have to be a little bit more clear on what that means. Um, a female character who doesn't have to be in their 20s. They're like late teens to 20s, but has to be able to play someone who's in their late teens to 20s.
Mhm.
Um, has to be, I think either, I think probably Latina is what.
I am all set.
All right. So next up, we're moving to Detective Blanc. Now, Daniel Craig was great in this role, right? But
Yeah,
let's get
I'm
past
very
that.
great.
Let's go get past that. We'll go straight to who are you picking?
So one of the great joys for me in watching Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc was that I was watching James Bond like go and like play this ridiculous like for me and for a lot of people, Daniel Craig was James Bond, and his James Bond is a very gritty and like intense like action hero, and to see him play this like idiosyncratic, over the top detective with an even more over the top Southern accent was an utterly like surreal like moment, because I was just like, I haven't seen Daniel Craig in a lot of like comedic stuff, so to see him in this way was hilarious and like so effective. Um, and so for me, I was trying to think like how else can I play in like how else can we like tap into that, like have an actor like who is like was well known for a serious role but can also like manage comedy really well. And I went through a few people, not gonna lie, there were a few that I was like, this could work, this could not work. And maybe I'll admit this choice is maybe a bit personally biased since I love him as an actor so much. But I have to say, I think Bryan Cranston make an epic Benoit Blanc, because I already see
Wow.
you reacting, but like
Wow.
hear me out,
Okay.
hear me out. Everyone knows him. Everyone knows him as Walter White from Breaking Bad, one of the greatest drama performances in like entertainment history. And but what people don't often realize about Bryan Cranston is that he's a ridiculously like awesome comedic performer. In fact, his career was comedy before Breaking Bad, And if you watch, he had like a small, he was like he appeared in a few episodes of How I Met Your Mother. He has this great Breaking Bad sketch where like they like his co-star Aaron Paul finds him, and he's like living out of their like old RV set, and he's like all like bummed out or whatever, and like
Mhm.
his style of comedy I think fits Benoit so well. He's sort of like um how best to, like just an over the top, very like he presents it with a straight face, even like what reminds me of like the 66 Batman series with Adam West. Like they were all saying the crazy stuff like with a straight face and totally serious and playing it serious, even though it was just like kind of like just ridiculous like mannerisms. And I think Bryan Cranston's comedic style, along with his like general dramatic chops, would just help balance out a would help create a very balanced Benoit performance. And because can be a very he can be very idiosyncratic, but you can also again tap into that more serious and genuine moments. And so I think I don't know. I think he'd be a really fun Benoit Blanc. I keep picturing his comedic performances and his Walter White, and I'm like, this would be so crazy. And I think this would be a very interesting casting.
I think you need new glasses because I don't know what you're
Yeah.
seeing.
Really? Okay. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I've seen a few episodes. I haven't
Okay.
gone through it yet. Don't spoil it. I will
Okay.
be
Yeah.
really mad.
Okay. Yeah. Don't worry.
I've seen some of his work, and I think he's a good actor, but
Mhm.
I don't think he's quite over the top enough.
Interesting. Okay.
So I chose someone who could be even more over the top.
Let's
Now
hear
you said you know it's hilarious seeing James Bond, right?
it.
James Bond playing Manuel Blanc, right?
Right.
You know what would be even better?
But
Batman playing Manuel Blanc.
who'd you cast?
Christian Bale.
Okay.
It's a clear choice. If you've seen Ford v Ferrari, you're like, yes, that's right. That's a fact.
Mhm.
There is no other choice. He's the right person. I mean, he's in American Hustle. He's in he's in the he plays Dick Cheney in Vice.
Vice. Yeah.
He's fantastic. His range, but his comedic timing is just it's so good. It's so good. I don't know what else to say. If you've seen Ford v Ferrari, you know that this is the only choice. He's hilarious, and he plays that smart, witty type of character.
Right.
And you see like little shades of it at parts of the Dark Knight, kind of like that smirky little like types of humor.
Mm.
But he goes all out in Ford v Ferrari, and it's a perfect casting. If you can't have Daniel Craig, who's a perfect casting, because if you've seen Logan Lucky, if you had seen that movie, you'd be
Mm.
like, oh yeah, this over the top guy, he can eat
You
that
pull it
role
off.
up. Yeah.
See, and I hate that you did that because Christian Bale is like one of my favorite actors. So I can't even be like, well, he can't not do it because it's Christian freaking Bale. The dude's a chameleon. He can pull off anything. So I hate you for that because like I can't. I'm trying to be like, well, I think and I'm not trying to like say like man, like
There is no rebuttal. It's that
I don't know.
simple.
No, well,
I
there's no
told you I
rebuttal
was
because
gonna
one,
win.
it's Christian. There's no rebuttal. I still think Cranston is a very legitimate choice, but like who am I to not acknowledge the fact that one of my favorite actors couldn't pull it off? Because let's face it, we said it in the Spider-Verse fan cast with Oscar Isaac. Like you give Christian Bale anything, he will perform anything to the highest degree. I don't know. I think Bryan Cranston is a very legitimate choice still. I think um I don't know. I think he's a very legitimate choice. Maybe we should do that another episode. Pit Bryan Cranston against Christian Bale, even though I both
Listen,
love them so dearly. Oh man.
that's a good casting, but I came with the perfect casting, and it's
Uh,
okay. You can just lose that one, and you
all
can
right.
try and make it up on the next. Now
Let's see.
we're gonna go on to Ransom, played by Chris Evans.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, talk about what we were talking about last time. James Bond playing Manuel Blanc, and then you have the hilarious, the best, most good person in the world, Captain America, played by Chris Evans, playing Ransom. So I thought, who could it be? But before I come out with my another perfect casting
Right.
choice, let's let you go ahead.
So again, I dived into that. Like, I don't think Ryan Johnson's casting was like just like, oh, like you read really well. Like I think all of these were so like very deliberate. Like I just picture like he intentionally tried to sort out, especially for the way Ransom's character is like the way the stuff he goes through in the movie. Like I have to believe like Ryan Johnson specifically went out as a way to like get Chris Evans or find someone close to Chris Evans with that type of like really like oh, he can't hurt anyone, he's such a great guy imagery, so that they could force him, or not force him, and just maneuver him into this crazy role that's Ransom. So I thought to myself, okay, who else can stand up to Captain America? Who else is that good guy? Like, you know, generally like again like beloved, like everyone's like on board with him. And my mind when found myself at the doorsteps of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company to a young man named Jim Halpert. And I was like, you know what? John Krasinski as Ransom Drysdale would be a totally like unorthodox, but it could work. Like John, like Jim Halpert, again, it functions in the same way as Chris Evans. I think Jim Halpert, Captain America, two good-natured guys, and then them having them play like the scene in the trailers where Chris Evans is telling them to like all like eat shit and all that. Are we gonna have to blurt that out? Or
We'll be fine. We'll figure a way through it.
all right, but like when he's telling everyone in the family to like, you know, like he's just like cursing at everyone. Like I feel like John Krasinski could like work that. Like I think one, as we all know from The Office, John Krasinski is a great comedic actor, but also from things like Jack Ryan and The Quiet Place, a Quiet Place, which he directed. He can also do like very intense, and I think he's more than capable of able to mix that within a portrayal of Ransom. And again, just that meta imagery of seeing like Jim Halpert act mean, I think is something that's would be very entertaining and would be very as effective as it was for Chris Evans as Ransom. And I think I don't know, I think I keep saying Jim Halpert. I have him written down as Jim Halpert. I didn't even put his like I didn't even actually put John Krasinski. I think John Krasinski would be more than capable of portraying the character. I think he'd be such a funny, energetic, and just unpredictable performance as Ransom. So.
Wow. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to choose someone else and tell you why someone else is better. Because
right.
That's such a great pick that someone may have thought the exact same thing, but
oh jeez,
actually in a moment of clarity came up with an even better
right
pick than what you had.
Like I went first, right?
So yeah, maybe I should go first next time. But what I will say is that's a solid cast, and especially it's a Massachusetts guy. The movie takes place in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smart pick, and I see where you're going there. You're trying to paint me into a corner, but I do the best when my back's against the wall. And I have to tell you, there's a lot of ammunition here that now I'm just bubbling through it. It's like I had an epiphany of all these actors coming to mind. And gosh, you know, let's talk about the character through. And as we talk through the character, we'll talk through who the right person to cast is.
Okay, let's see.
First things first, you got to be able to wear that sweater.
This is true. You
can't wear that sweater. I can't
Iconic
cast
look.
you. Can't cast you without that sweater. Now, you gotta be able to be an entitled kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like an adult, like a man-child.
Yeah.
So who plays that? That's the question. Is it John Bernthal? No, he doesn't quite fit. No. Is it Adam Driver? You know, he's close. He's like 90% of the way there. I mean, he could pull off the sweater, but he's just not quite right. Now, I'm thinking, what about Leonardo DiCaprio? He could play both sides of that role, but he's a little on the older side. Doesn't quite fit. He gets aged out. And that leaves me with the choice that was most clear and obvious from the beginning. You think he's great. You talked about him last time. He was your Spider-Man. Ryan Gosling.
Of
Ryan
course.
Gosling is the perfect pick. I mean, just look at him. He can play both sides of it. He can play like the evil, twisted side. You see that in Drive. There are elements of him
Right.
being ruthless. The nice
Mhm.
guy. Oh, he's just a sweetheart to the child he has, right? So you
Right.
can have him being that kind of sweet father figure, but he's not quite that.
Mhm.
It's a twisted approach, and he goes from
Right.
that, and then all of a sudden, whoop, up, he's that intimidating guy from the nice guy, I mean,
Mhm.
from Drive, and
Right.
all of a sudden he's doing that kind of evil, twisted, sinister performance, and he can hit all those notes of humor. I
This is
mean,
true.
listen, you said it in our last episode. He's hilarious.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Crazy Stupid Love is
All
great.
all my rebuttal is though is that Ransom would, and to reference Crazy Stupid Love, to reference The Big Short, the role of Ransom I think would too much resemble those roles, and like I saw Knives Out twice with my family and with my friends. So much of my rebuttals, so much of the fun was watching Captain America curse and be a jerk, and like that again. That I have to, I Ryan Johnson and his casting department. I have to say, like my rebuttal is part of part of the joy of watching that character was of the fact that they put like Captain America. And I'm not saying Ryan
No,
Gosling is like not a nice guy, but like look, think about it. Watching Jim Halpert being a jerk or just being like, and again you have to consider the way they wrote Ransom, the twists and turns they took with him. The fact that it was Chris Evans, Captain America, in the role definitely played with audience expectations, and that's one of the. That's why
see,
I think that's my
you
rebuttal.
got you have this all wrong. You have this
No,
all wrong.
I'm
If you
telling you.
watched the trailer to the movie, you knew Ransom was going to be the bad guy. You knew it. You knew it deep down. You weren't tricked.
That's a spoiler, by the way. We probably should have said it's
Well,
a
I can
spoiler.
I can say there are spoilers in this. I will put that at the beginning of the episode to clear up. But you can tell. I mean, what's the first thing he says in the trailer that everyone laughs at?
But it inspired doubt. I'm not. I talked to my friends that it inspired doubt for a bit in the middle of the movie when he picks up onto the armrest and they have beans or whatever. And
See,
as
I
at
think
first
you
you
can get
assume,
that same doubt. I think you can get that same doubt from
and
Ryan Gosling. I
I'm not.
think
And
he can do
I'm
that
not. I'm not
because
saying against Ryan.
I think what
Playing
you're
against
saying
type, playing
is the
against
doubt
type
comes
also
from
key.
outside. I think you can get the doubt from the character himself because of how good of an actor Ryan Gosling is. I think he's so good
I
of an
won't
actor
deny
that he
that.
can
I won't
create
deny
that
that.
doubt within the movie, and he's so good that he doesn't even need the other Captain America type role to do that. He
But
doesn't
it
need the
definitely
doubt to
helped
come
be
outside.
effective
He
in
can
this.
portray that in the movie.
I'm
I
telling you,
mean,
the
it's
casting
just
was just
clear.
as effective. At this point, we should have like a static screen, like our fighting is just like glitches, and it's just like okay, we're resetting now. I think that'd be really great. Just everything crashes.
Everything crashes. Yeah, because I mean, we're lucky we're in two separate rooms because this could turn into
Turn to a
something not so
fist
good
fight.
over here. All right,
Oh
let's
man.
move on because we're on two different sides of the argument here.
Mhm,
But let's move on to Linda Drysdale, played by Jamie Lee Curtis.
mhm.
Fantastic. But let's just go straight into the role. Who did you pick?
This one took a while. This was. It's funny. Out of everyone, this was probably the hardest, just because like Linda's. It's like a very balanced character. She's not like the hard like a hard nose like she's like the like fierce like take charge. She wasn't too much in that extreme. There was still like very like vulnerable and just like personal moments to her. And I think I don't know, like the role was written so well, especially for a role that was like as like didn't wasn't as big and also just Jamie Lee Curtis again, she did so well. And man, I don't know, I kept like bouncing back and forth on this one. And ultimately, I thought to myself, I think it would be really interesting if Michelle Pfeiffer was played Linda. I think, let's see, she's most recently been in the Ant-Man movies, or Ant-Man and the Wasp specifically. She was Michael Douglas's wife, the first Wasp, and she appeared in Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express. She appeared alongside Al Pacino in Brian De Palma's Scarface, and of course, her most famous role, she played Catwoman in Tim Burton's Batman Returns. And of all those roles, especially Catwoman, as I just picture this like sort of like fierce like strength, or maybe not necessarily fierce, but just strength in general. Like there's like if you remember from the details scattered about her character, like Linda like kind of built up her own business. Like she got she was set up by her father like money wise, but she basically built this huge business by herself. And I'm like, Michelle Pfeiffer carries that same like iron will and like strength to like embody a character like that.
Right.
And also again, she has the vulnerable. She is so good at placing up these like this strong like persona, but like she's able to like reveal like pull the curtains back and reveal a vulnerable side. I picture her scenes in Murder on the Orient Express, especially. I think I think she did a great job in that movie and portraying this sort of character who's very much maybe not necessarily in control of the situation, but like the closest thing to that. She's very aware of what's happening, but she's also like, I don't know, she just has like this vulnerable side that she constantly has to like address or whatnot. I think she would just be a very interesting. I think her casting her as Linda would be a very interesting performance.
All right. Now, I agree. I think the word is interesting, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. It doesn't quite push it over the line. So I am going to do what you could not. And I'm going to put a 2-time Academy Award-winning actress, Emma Thompson.
I'll say right now, I can't even particularly argue because actually I don't know if I've actually seen too much of Emma Thompson in it, so I don't know what exactly I could say for her or against her. So you kind of bought yourself a win there.
Well, here's the thing. If you've seen her in Late Night, right? Not the best movie, right? It's not a bad movie at all, but it's not the best movie. But you know who is great? Emma Thompson. And you know what she's all about in that movie? Her entitlement as a character, right? Now, there's an arc to it, right? She kind of learns that she's too entitled and gets better. But she's at her best when she's the most entitled person in the whole world. And that's what this character is. Like, I mean, Linda Drysdale is very much an entitled person. All these people are super entitled.
Right.
From start to finish. Emma Thompson has that. She's a 2-time Academy Award winner. She's played a part that's similar enough that you know she could do this. I mean, I don't have to say much more on this casting. She's just a fantastic actress who you can't go wrong with.
I don't doubt that. I do have to see more of her, I will admit.
All right. So let's move on to our next one. The other Drysdale, Richard Drysdale. Who did you end up picking for that one?
This one was hard because Don Johnson did such a great job again. And you know what? This one like really like stumped me like for a long time. I was just like looking at this. I was like, who would be so good? So I decided to go an opposite route. And I decided to age Richard down quite a bit actually, given who I ended up on. But I decided to age Richard down because I thought, again, spoilers, the fact that he was cheating on Linda and how he was like kind of like insecure about his place with her and with the family, I think aging him down like would still allow that, maybe would even enable like that story, like enable that storyline to a greater extent. And so I decided to age Richard down and focusing on the aspects of Richard being this kind of like very loud, boisterous, but also kind of like you kind of like roll your eyes like, oh, like, okay, man, like whatever, like type personality. I decided to cast Kyle Chandler, not a totally well-known actor, but an actor who's put in the work over the years. Most recent role was Michael Dougherty's Godzilla King of the Monsters. Not the best movie, nor was it his best performance.
Have you seen that movie?
I have seen that.
It?
Yes, I have seen it.
Seen him? Listen, no disrespect to him, but have you seen him act in that movie?
No, that's why I started with this movie. That movie, not the best writing at all. And his performance, not the best at all. Other most notable film role besides that. Let's see. I picked two other most notable film roles. He was in J.J. Abrams' Super 8, and he was in Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. He played the FBI agent that's hunting down Leonardo DiCaprio. And also his most famous role, he appeared in the NBC show Friday Night Lights. Between those three roles, I think he'd be very good at playing this kind of like, again, this kind of very like loud, like aggressive type character. In Friday Night Lights, he's a football coach. In Wolf of Wall Street, he's a government agent, and in Super 8, he's a police officer. And I think he's like, I think he would be a very good chance to let that like more aggressive, more just what's the word I use, boisterous like personality out. And I think I think playing him against Michelle Pfeiffer would be very good. And I know, and I'll just say this just for his own sake, he was nominated for an Emmy 4 times for his role in Friday Night Lights, and did he? Yes, he did win. The 3 other times he was beaten out, I think, by Bryan Cranston on Breaking Bad. So that's kind of funny, but he is more than capable of just acting in general. I know Godzilla again wasn't the best, but like he's more than capable of bringing it, and I think as an aged down Richard, I think it would be a very I think it'd still work, and the perspective of it all would still work. Maybe even be enhanced by the fact that he's like younger than Michelle Pfeiffer.
Interesting. Now, I disagree with this choice so much. On your hand, that I'll just give you the better option, so you can be like, "Oh, I forgot about him." Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know about that.
He can play a really like sleazy, like twist, like not necessarily twisted, but kind of like a slick, weird, backstabbing type of character. I mean, whether it's from the Mission Impossibles.
He didn't even like backstab anyone in Mission Impossible.
No. But I'm starting to lay the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait as it comes. If you've seen him in 30 Rock, you can kind of see that.
Mm-hmm.
He has such a filmography that you can get the kind of vibe of who he is as a person and who he is as an actor. And I think he perfectly fits into that role. I mean, he's just like a little bit out there, and if you look at him, you're like, yes, he is right for the role. I have no doubt that he would kill this role in a way that whoever you choose would just wouldn't. And choosing the guy who was in Godzilla King of the Monsters,
also won an Emmy for Friday Night Lights, and who did a great job in that show. That's a great show to watch, by the way.
Sure, that's one show, but listen, I know I can trust my actor. I can trust Alec Baldwin to be a good character.
Something about Alec Baldwin is like bothering me, and it's not the behind the scenes stuff with him, so it's not necessarily that. It's just something I don't know, like I've seen him Mission Impossible films. He had that small bit in Spike Lee's BlacKkKlansman in the beginning. I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad choice by any means, but I mean, I don't know. Something is bothering me about it. I have to admit, something's bothering me about it.
Hey, that's fair. You're allowed to your opinion. It's just your opinion is wrong. It's no big deal.
Right, of course. That's how it works, right.
So anyways, let's move on to our next one. This is a massive cast list, so let's kind of try and plow through the rest of this. We have Joni Thrombey, played by Toni Collette. So let's just go straight to it. Who did you cast?
Well, first off, Toni Collette, I would just want to say on her part, like, underrated. It's amazing she hasn't won an Oscar yet. I think she's a very underrated actress. So shout out to her. One of the things I enjoyed about Joni was that she's the most off kilter of the family, like not counting like Benoit or whatever, but like she's the most off kilter of the family while still maintaining the same like entitled, like conniving edge that everyone else has.
Sure.
Honestly, and again, another one that I was going back and forth on, I think Kristen Wiig would kill it in this role. I think Kristen Wiig, she's about to show up in Wonder Woman 1984. Before that, she was in SNL. She was in Bridesmaids. I think she has the off-kilter energy, and I think she can still maintain that sort of like exasperated, like like not whiny, maybe a little whiny, but like whiny entitled. Like I picture her freak out scene in Bridesmaids. I don't know if the one do you know which one I'm talking about when she like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
at the party? I picture that. I picture fun fact for those who watched it on Cartoon Network, the Looney Tune show. She was Bugs Bunny's hyperactive girlfriend, Lola Bunny. I think she can maintain the off kilter energy and be completely like in your face, like screaming, like
Right.
um, Alan, like, and I think she would just. I think she's awesome. I think she as well is an underrated actress. I think as a comic actress and as a serious actress. Her serious roles are like few and are not that many, but she always brings it in those, and she can do drama. I think she would just be a very like come on, she is such a funny presence in Bridesmaids, but she can also most certainly like maintain that like forceful in your face energy. Like just she can switch it all. She can switch and go in that direction if she need to, which you kind of need for Joni.
Yeah,
That's my
I
case for
think
Pacific.
I think you know who Joni is as a character. And I think you're like you had a very good casting. But
But of course, it's nothing compared to yours, right?
it's not
Of course.
perfect because it's not Kate Blanchett. It's not. It's
You,
just
you know
not.
what? I need to check something. No, give your argument. I need to check something about Kate Blanchett. But give your argument.
Yeah,
Regardless,
I
go
mean,
on.
multiple nominations for Academy Awards. I believe she
Multiple
has
wins
multiple
too.
wins too. I
Yes,
think
multiple
for
wins.
Blue Jasmine and The Aviator, she won.
I think she won for yeah.
Yeah, I think if you see her in anything, you just kind of know.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Hey, and she's in Ocean's 8.
This
Great
is
in
true. Yes,
Ocean's 8.
Ocean Day as well.
You remember Hela from Thor Ragnarok? Oh wait, that's her. She was fantastic. She's just so good in that movie. And it's the same. It's like you see any movie of hers, she's a voice in How to Train Your Dragon, and she's a great voice in How to Train Your Dragon. Well, the second one, I believe.
Yes, this
She's the mother to Hiccup, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, great voiceover work there. And if you see her in a role, she can jump between. She's such a versatile actress that she can do anything. And when you have an Academy Award-winning caliber actress or actor, there's nothing they can't do. And she has that kind of vibe to her where I think she could give that fishy kind of stuck up, I'm an entrepreneur, but not really, you know, well, spoiler, um, kind of a scam artist.
right.
I think she can hit all of those notes perfectly. I don't think there's any better casting than that. I think you brought up a good casting, but I'm
I
just
don't know,
going to
but
take everything to the next
like
level.
we said, like we said with Christian Bale as Benoit, you give him anything, he'll play anything. Same with Kate Blanchett. But you can't. I don't think you can top Kristen Wiig as Joni. That's such like that's lightning in a bottle. Like that's such a like Toni Collette. Like Kristen Wiig would absolutely kill it in the role. She would do. Oh my god, she is. Joni is more of a Kristen Wiig. I still think Kristen Wiig much better, and that's no disrespect, of course, to Kate Blanchett,
I
amazing
don't know.
actress.
I don't know. It kind of
Kristen, I
sounds
don't
like
know,
it to
Kristen. I'm
me.
telling you, Kristen Wiig would be so amazing as Johnny. That's such, I can picture it in my head.
I I don't know. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's go with Walt Thromby, played by Michael Shannon, the one, the only, the great one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who did you end up picking? And don't say who I'm going to pick because I'm going to be mad. Go ahead.
I picked Nick Cage. Is that who you picked?
No, that is no,
I thought
no,
I'll admit this is
no.
probably the one that I felt the least certain about, but I thought it was like I was like this would be such a funny casting. I'll admit maybe I threw this one away, but like I was like this would be such a funny casting just because um Walt Thornby is like he was always the impression I got from Walt Thornby was that he was a character who always acted like he was in control of everything, even though it was like not. I pictured a scene where he's like talking drunkenly to Harlan Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what
And
you're
like
talking
he's
about.
trying to no, 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 we're all fine, we're all fine. And Harlan's like, dude, that is not okay. And like, I think, oh man, I just think Nick Cage would be like as unorthodox as it is. And I admit it's unorthodox. And again, this is probably the one I felt the least certain about. I could see this getting overruled in more than a few actors, but like, what they're gonna be like that sort of like desperate, that sort of like constantly like aggravated, like when he's that scene, the family argument scene when he's just like yelling at like Ransom. He almost gets into a fight with Don Johnson. Like I think Nick Cage would be hilarious. I think he can like nail that sense of like um what is the word, sort of unpredictability in a way. I think there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to Walt, because he can be like that scene with Martha when he like it's just me when he goes to her house. Like there's like he's attempting to be kind, but you also know he's like really trying to like scam her. I think there's a lot of unpredictability, and who says unpredictability better than Nick Cage?
Well,
National
yeah.
Treasure from Man did National Treasure, and he did the 2018 film Mandy. Now, like that's that for sure. And he leaving Las Vegas, which you won an Oscar for, since you want to talk about Oscar wins, leaving Las Vegas, National Treasure, and Mandy, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That is such a like what a wild resume, right? Like just those 4 films right there. So I think Nick Cage would be hilarious as well. I think that'd be such an unorthodox casting.
Oh, so you want to talk about a Oscar caliber actor, right? You want to talk about Oscar caliber actors.
Mm.
Before I even tell you my pick, let me just tell you a few people who would have been great that I couldn't quite give, because the people who are watching this, they deserve a second person that actually could have fit this role. Because here's what Nick Cage does. He'll either be good, he'll be fine, he'll be pretty good, or he will destroy your movie. It goes in one of two directions. And I don't think this role fits him.
Nick Cage.
Listen, I love Nick Cage in National Treasure. He's awesome. Raising Arizona, he's great. But there are other movies where you're like, oh no, what am I watching? This is like, it doesn't work. So have you heard of a guy called Sam Rockwell? Great actor, award-winning actor.
I don't know about that. I'm going to be so honest with you. As much as Sam Rockwell's a great actor and he won the Oscar for 3 Billboards, I don't know about that, man. As
That's
Walt,
okay.
I
It's
don't
not
know.
who
I
I
don't know
picked,
about
though.
that.
It's not who I picked. Mark Ruffalo would have been great. Would have been great in that role.
Mark Ruffalo would have been good. I'll give you Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know how you came to that pick. It doesn't, I don't understand. But
I
you
decided to
want to
get
know someone?
experimental with my pick.
Yeah, but you want to know someone who's been nominated for 3 Oscars, who's a great actor, he's hilarious, and he also can play really serious very well? Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson. Yep, he's the right pick, without a doubt.
I'm going to be honest with you. When you said 3 Oscar noms, I thought Bradley Cooper, and I was like, Bradley Cooper is an interesting choice. And you said Woody Harrelson, and I'll admit, I kind of got underwhelmed. I'm not going to lie.
Underwhelmed? What?
Look,
No.
I'm not saying Woody Harrelson is not a charming actor, and I think like especially like I don't know if you've seen him in like War for the Planet of the Apes or Now You See Me or
3 Billboards. 3 Billboards. He's great in 3 Billboards.
I'm not going to deny he's great in 3 Billboards, but I would rather have casted him. Not gonna lie, as Richard. He would be a much better fit for Richard than he would be for Walt.
No,
I just don't picture. I do not picture Woody Harrelson playing that sort of like kind of sad, like desperate, like he's very sad in 3 Billboards, but that's just because that's a different type of character. I think if you had said Woody Harrelson as Richard, I would have had no problems with it. I do not see him as Walt. I'm not gonna
Here's the thing. Talk about desperate. Woody Harrelson can make desperate about getting a Twinkie bar believable in Zombieland, and he can make it amazing and hilarious
his
and have those serious moments.
His character was also this ridiculous like alpha male like shotgun like like character from Tallahassee.
Right, but there are also aspects to his characters that isn't that, and that's what makes the film interesting. He's not just this alpha. There's this other side to him, and it's what makes him, that humanizes him as a character.
I don't know.
Makes him a rounded character.
I've been like Of course, I think my choices have been better this far, but this is the one I disagree with the most. I can't see, and I'm looking at pictures of Woody Harrelson right now. Like,
Have you seen Solo: A Star Wars Story when
I
he plays
have seen
Beckett? You know
Solo. He
what
was
Beckett
there for
is?
like 5 minutes, and he kind of played the same role as he did, and now you see
He
me,
was there for more
the
than
same
five
scum.
minutes, and
But he
he's a
seems he
scam
played this.
artist.
He
He's
played the
literally a
same.
scam artist in that movie. He's trying to scam everyone out of what they're worth.
Woody Harrelson is too can be his like delivery. He's like can be this kind of like sarcastic like like I don't see like what like I associate sarcasm like with like more like Richard and like with Woody Harrelson, and I don't see it with Walt. Walt is to be like I don't know.
He
This is the one I
has
disagree. I gotta
he
say
has
it.
everything you need to play this role. I mean, he's a top caliber actor.
I mean, I'm
He
not
has
saying he
everything.
couldn't
I've
pull
laid
it off.
out
I'm just saying
the
I
whole
couldn't see
thing.
it.
I
I couldn't
mean,
see it.
listen, saying I can't see it, and you chose Nick Cage. It makes no sense. It makes
But like
no
Woody
sense.
Harrelson wasn't like Woody Harrelson is like not even like
And I didn't
this just
even talk
cancels
about
out.
True
I'm just
Detective.
like
I
this
didn't even
cancels
talk
out.
about True Detective.
This cancels out. This cancels out.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. We're just
We're
moving
moving
on to
on.
the next one. We're moving right on. Harlan Thrombey. Um, this was a tough casting, but go ahead.
I said John Hurt. You
Interesting.
viewers have seen him in Harry Potter. I believe he played Ollivanders, the wand maker. He was in Snowpiercer. He's Chris Evans' mentor,
Right.
and he was in the uh, the comic book adaptation movie V for Vendetta. One thing John Hurt can do well is he can be big without like speaking big. Like he maintains a large like presence even when he's like still like being very like quietly spoken, still being very um what is the word? Just like he appears like a small presence when in fact like just through his intonation, through the way he delivers lines, through the way his body language reads, he reads as a much bigger like persona. And I think Harlan was very much that, just the way like for instance he planned Marta's escape plan after everything went wrong for them, and the way he was still managed to be like messing around with his family even in that like the fact that they were like more like he was still like the eldest of them. And I think John Hurt can do that. His role as Ollivander in Harry Potter is a very much off kilter role, but then you have like and the Snowpiercer role was the classic mentor role, and then you have V for Vendetta. I don't know if you've seen it. He plays this very loud politician, this villain politician
Yeah.
who's always like screaming and yelling and trying to control the masses. Like, and I think he and there's a scene at the end of V for Vendetta, like when he's confronted with the main protagonist, and he becomes like very like he can switch between modes very well, but it never feels like whiplash, tonal whiplash. There's always consistency. There's always like, oh, I saw this side of him like earlier, even though he was like communicating something else. I think John Hurt would just be a very good like replacement, or not replacement, just a recast for the great Christopher Plummer as Harlan. Um, I don't know, and I think he would be a great like in the roles of this brilliant, like dramatic, like not over dramatic, but like dramatic that like when he was like messing around with Marta, this dramatic, brilliant grandfather role.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick
Thank
at
you.
all.
Thank you, but not as good as yours, right?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you know that. I'm really glad that you admit that
Of course.
yourself.
Right.
So you're like, who's better? That's a really good. Came up with a really good pick. Oh, you know who's better? Oh, Michael Caine. Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, he embodies everything that is this character. I mean, an award-winning actor. You said you love Nolan movies. You know who's in all the Nolan movies?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. He's fantastic. I mean, he is just so great. So
What does Michael
great.
wait, not to argue, like it's just a genuine question. What does Michael Caine sound like without his British accent? Do you have a video clip or something? Is there something I can look up? Because Harlan, I'm not have. I'll be honest. If they could cast Michael Caine, I have no problem. He just better not use his British accent. It wouldn't work.
He can drop his British accent.
I want to know what it's like. Hold on.
Here's the thing. British actors are very good at getting to an American accent. American actors are not very good at getting to a British accent. You can see that through
That's fair.
all of television. It's the way that they're classically trained a lot of the time. So I have no doubt that he could do it. He played a great Alfred. He was great.
100%.
Uh, any of his movies he's done lately, he kind of has that gravitas to kind of play that role. And I can see him as a loving person. That's kind of who he is in a lot of his roles. But he's also a very intelligent person. And I think any of the movies you see him in, I mean, that's he always plays an intelligent character. And I could see him as an
Oh,
author, a really rich author. Go ahead.
what is this? 11 British actors who tried American accents and failed dismally. Who's on this list? Let's see. Clive Owen from Inside Man, Dominic Cooper from Captain America the First Avenger, and Michael Caine from the movie On Deadly Ground. And they're rating being an actor the caliber of Michael Caine should put in a better accent performance than that. That's problem number one, because this family,
See,
as you said,
see,
Massachusetts, this is America. Like,
see,
that, I
that's
wouldn't get past it.
blasphemous.
That's problem one.
That's a single opinion. That's a single opinion of someone who doesn't like Michael Caine as an actor. And secondly, there's this
I'm,
thing called a vocal coach that you can get that could perfect that, that can make sure it was perfect, even though it would already be perfect. I mean, there's no way around this. You're just
I don't
trying to
know.
throw something
I'll
at the
say
wall
this:
because
as
you're
much
desperate.
as I
There's no one
respect
right.
Michael Caine, there is an element of playfulness in his. There's an element of playfulness in the writing of Harlan that I think he can do in parts. I don't think he can do it as well as John Hurt, especially since Michael Caine's. The only thing I pick when I think of Michael Caine as a comedic person, I picture his more sarcastic lens in The Dark Knight, and then I see John Hurt as Ollivander, and I'm like, John Hurt can easily play up the more playful aspect of um, Harlan much more. And I say this because I love Michael Caine, but one, I just can't picture him being this kind. The more Can't be more over the top than this role needs. While John Hurt again as Ollivander, and that's just only one of his more like um how to phrase it, energetic roles, I suppose. Like it would work so much better, I'm telling you, than Michael Caine. As much as I love the great Sir Michael Caine, it
Listen,
just wouldn't work as well. It just wouldn't work as well. I'm telling you.
either way I'm winning because you're either bashing Michael Caine or you're agreeing with me. So either way, I'm taking that as a win. So with that wraps up our fan casting. Let us know, what did you think? Who had the better list?
Who you would have casted, and let us know who you would have casted.
Yeah, feel free to yell at us for forgetting someone. Was someone really wrong? I think Nick was a lot, but
Right, of course.
I mean Nick as in Nick Cage, but
You know what we
also
should have
you.
done? You know what we should have done? We should have done. I think Willem Dafoe as Benoit Blanc would have been hilarious. Willem
Listen,
Dafoe. Willem Dafoe. I
listen,
preach Willem Dafoe supremacy. Willem Dafoe is great.
I don't know. But anyways, let us know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Peace.